Þorbergsson, Valberg skorar! Valberg Guðmundsson hefur skorað. Ragnar Helgesson og skoðamark! Glæsilega! Óskar Rafn á móti Bjarna. Og Bjarni með góða sendingu fyrir og Haraldur Ingvarsson!
Hello and welcome to the new episode of the Besta pod ever. Well, it's a bonus episode, so no Joe today, just me, Tryggvi, and I'm here to introduce my interview with a friend of the pod, Orri Rafn, as we discuss the women's national team. They just had two very important games that didn't go maybe as well as we would have liked. And then we'll move on to some maybe happier topics when we discuss the Besta deildin. So let's jump into the interview, and thank you again, Orri, for joining us. Hi, Orri. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to having this chat with you.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
We have a few questions for you. We're going to maybe start with the women's national team, if you don't mind. In your own words, how would you describe the most recent international window?
I think the best word to use is disappointment. And I would go as far as say it was a huge disappointment, the performance in general in both games, and especially against Germany.
Yeah, I could definitely feel some disappointment in the media afterwards. There was some talk that, okay, this was our time to really take it to the Germans, who seemed a bit weak, right, before the game, and it didn't quite turn out that way.
Yeah, I also think because we are the FIFA rankings, they don't. They give you a picture of where the team should be, but you could be sitting in the 10th place, but you're still the 30th best team in the world, if you know what I mean. But we are sitting in the 14th place, and Wales is in the 29th, I think it was. And we got seriously outplayed at home. We won the game 1-0 with that goal from that set piece where Amanda crossed the ball and Glódís scored the header, and it was a good goal. But playing at home and being dominated like we were, it's not a good sign, and we were just lucky, I think, there that we have players like Glódís and Wales don't have the quality that they need to finish a game like that. If Wales had some quality up front in their strikers, they would probably have won that game, in my opinion. I was also shocked to hear about, after the game in the interview with the Icelandic television, the captain of the team says that they had misunderstood which defensive tactic they should play.
That was quite funny.
Yeah, and nobody said anything. Not the coach, not his assistants, or the players. Nobody realized anything, and that just tells me do they have some plan, or are they just going out on the field and do the kick and run? When you look at those two games, and of course over the last 2 years, it doesn't look like we have a plan. We cannot connect passes. We don't attack fast enough. And when Sveinís Jónsdóttir is playing, all we do is kicking the ball up front and let her run after it. We're not playing football. I know we're not a possession team. I know that. We're not supposed to be a possession team. But when we have players at this level, that play at this level, I just feel like they should give a better performance than they have been showing us. And we deserve a better performance from our national team because we know how good they are, but they are somehow not delivering it.
I think, like I said, I think there was some positivity going into this round of games. Especially, we have the captain of Bayern Munich playing for us. We have obviously Sveinís was injured or away, right? So we're missing some players, but
that doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
Exactly. So So there was some positivity, but from what you're saying, and it wasn't really a surprise to you that we lost to Germany, right?
No. Before the game against Germany, I thought okay, are we going to do the same tactic again? This 3-5-2 tactic that I feel personally doesn't work for the Icelandic team, especially when we don't have Sveinís. Sveinís is our fastest player, and it could work against the bigger teams that hold the ball for long and attack us a lot. But playing 3-5-2 against Germany was, as soon as I saw the squad and I knew which position we were playing. I knew it like the day before. I started thinking like, how are we going to beat them? How are we going to create any chances? What are we going to do against them? And when it came to the game, in the first minute, you could see, okay, this game is going to go badly. It tells you everything that you need to know, how the game went and how the game evolved, that we had 0 in XG. We didn't have any chance or shot that counts into the XG formula. That for me is, I don't care if you're playing against Brazil, USA, Germany, or South Korea, or whatever country. If you don't create any XG in a game, it's just not good enough.
No, exactly. And I mean, we have 2 tough games, 2 very important games coming up in the next window in October, right?
Yeah.
Do you see any signs of improvement? Any signs of that we can learn, that we can bounce back from this, or is I know there's been some talk about the manager's place, given no changes on that front. Let's say, do you see any signs of positivity, or do we need to make managerial changes, in your opinion?
First of all, both the games are at home. That should give us something, but those games are also against Denmark and Germany. Denmark is a better team than Germany right now because of the way they play. Germany, of course, should be a better team in general, but like you said in the start of this conversation, that they have had some problems, but hopefully they're going to figure it out, because we want Germany to be a top nation when it comes to women's football. Our chances in that assignment are not good. I cannot see anything out of it. I don't think we're going to get a point, especially if we play like we've been playing. And why should we change it now after 2 years of not playing up to standards? I'm not sure if I don't want to throw the coach under the bus like it's just his fault. I really do like him as a person. I know what kind of trainer he is. I know how he thinks, and somehow he hasn't taken it into the national team. It's like he's overthinking it, and he's going away from what he stands for because he's trying to adjust it to the players. But I feel like that mix just isn't working. Of course, the players should also take some of the fault that has been going on and take responsibility of it. But I don't feel like they're doing it either, because I see some interviews where they say something like, yeah, we have been playing badly, we need to play better next game, then nothing happens. And then you see them like on social media, just everybody really happy, and nobody, like the performance of just Germany, nobody has come and said this was a shitty performance from our side on social media. I think we have to change just to get some new, fresh voice into the locker room, to get new, fresh eyes on it. And I really, really do hope that KOC, our National Football Association, goes after a foreign coach that has no relations to the national team. There has been some talk. I've been asked a couple of times about Elisabeth Gunnarsdóttir, the Christian trainer. But after what happened last time, I don't think she's going to take it. And I also just think that she will get better offers when or if she decides to leave Kristianstad. The only option I see here is that we need maybe a change and get in some new voices, somebody that's maybe not that deep into the Icelandic football.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly worked on the men's side. So yeah, there's definitely a logic to doing the same thing on the women's side. But it's not the greatest news, I guess, from you.
No, but it's also like, what I love about Thorsteinn Halldórsson, the manager, is that he always tries to speak directly. He's always honest. He just says the things how they are. He has also been criticizing the team and himself. I give him a huge credit for that. But he also has been talking about how the Besta deildin in Iceland isn't good enough, but he still picks a lot of players from that league. He criticized the top league player and says, top goal scorer in that league, and says he's not ready. But then Swedish gets injured and she's the next in line to come into the squad. I don't understand the logic behind the comments and how you create a group, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, exactly. It seems a bit illogical and a bit, to go after the players that are next in line.
Exactly. And just to be like, I would always prefer that we would try to play a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, where we could get like Karolina Vilhjálmsdóttir on the ball, deeper on the field, where we have our wingers in attacking mode, because we have players that are really direct and can attack. But like in this assignment, like I felt sometimes like Germany, the Germany game, that there was Manchester City against like Sheffield United or somebody. Like, we didn't stand a chance. The stats in that game, they literally scared me, and I have been worried about the development of the national team. And after this assignment, I don't see anything changing in the near future. We need to do something drastic to change it.
It certainly seems like it. But if we try to move on, let's move on to some hopefully more positive news. You talk about the Besta deildin.
Yeah.
You talk about the Besta deildin. It's drawing to a close now. The lower half has finished its games, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the top half is, because they're doing the same formula as the men's side, splitting it into two. Could you just maybe give a quick? I know we said we wanted to do maybe more updates this season, but we weren't able to do as many this season. Hopefully, we can do a bit better next season. So maybe just a quick update on the champions and maybe with some quick summary on maybe how the season has gone.
Yeah, Valur did the correct thing in the last transfer window, where they just went out and got Anna Björk, Amanda Andradóttir, and Berglind Rós Ágústsdóttir, and some foreign players as well. And they just went out there and got the players they needed to dominate the league, and that is what they did. And now they have become champions. They have 11-point league against Breiðablik with 2 or 3 games to go. Valur they are the dominant force in this league from now on, and with the renewing of the contract with their coach Pétur Pétursson, it's hard to see other clubs compete in the next 2 to 3 years. Especially with the downfall of Breiðablik. I know Breiðablik is in the second place right now, and they went to the cup final where they lost against a first division team. I don't see anybody that can compete unless they do something big this winter and get players that will actually help them grow the team. Overall this season, the top 3-4 teams, there are Valur, Breiðablik, Stjarnan, Þróttur, and then Þór Káa has been doing well lately. These are probably the 4 best teams. I'm a little bit shocked Valur are winning this league with this much point difference, but in the end, when Breiðablik only sells and don't get any players in, and Valur almost only get players into their squad, this is probably the only solution that could come out of it. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen between Breiðablik and Stjarnan that are sitting in the second and third place, about who's going to get that second European spot.
What's the difference right now?
2 points.
Okay, so there's still lots to play for there.
Stjarnan have Þróttur. Don't remember the teams Breiðablik have right now, but these games are going to be huge for both teams because of European money.
And on the lower side, on the bottom side, any surprises there, or did it sort of play out a little bit how you would have expected it to?
Selfoss was the biggest disappointment of the season, and probably the biggest disappointment in this league for some years now. They have 11 points, and they're of course relegated, and IPVF are also relegated with them. I'm surprised that Keflavík stayed up in the league, and I'm surprised that IPVF went down, because I thought IPVF would get some players that would actually make the difference for them. But when you don't have, I'm not going to say they don't have a good environment, but there's something going on in Vestmannaeyjar that they need to take a look at. Not just in the squad, but also in the team around it and the management.
There's been some talk for a while now about that environment. Coaches leaving, right? And
yeah, it's just a tough environment. But I need to give a credit to Tindastóll for staying up. That really surprised me. And I also need to give a little bit of a credit to FH, that I thought were going down, but they ended up in the top 6. If anything surprised me in the relegation, I was convinced that Keflavík would go down, and I thought FH would go down with them. But both of these teams stayed up, and IPVF and Selfoss went down. So it has been a surprising season.
And what do you make of the split on the women's side? Has it been a success?
100%, because often in women's football, the difference between teams are, the top teams and the lower teams are often a little bit wider than they are on the men's side. I think if we don't look at the Tindastóll IPVF game, the final game, I think every game has been a tight game. both at the top health and the lower health. So I really like this solution, and I really do hope that they will continue with it and evolve it even more, and hopefully get more people to the stadiums next season.
Nice. Well, it's good to end with some positives. We started maybe a bit negative, and then we ended on a positive.
Yeah, like I said, I could go on and on about the national team, who are playing, which player he's picking, the formation, how we come out to the pitch, how we play, and everything. I want to be positive. I believe we have a squad that can do something. Of course, they need some time, but if you're playing at the national level, you can't say like, oh, we are trying to build a squad, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, because you don't have the time for it. The national team is something that you play your best players at that moment. You should not reward players that have not been playing or are playing really badly by picking them or letting them play. To end it on a positive note with the national team, we can definitely do better. We just need to figure out what we're going to do better, and what it is that we can do to get better.
Well, hopefully we can maybe get you back on for the October window. We can talk a bit more in depth about the national team. That would be really good. But as always, Orri, it's a pleasure. And good luck on the men's side. I know IPVF is struggling with relegation there as well.
We don't want to talk about that.
No, we'll skip that for now.
Thank you. That would be nice.
But thank you so much for coming on, and it's always a pleasure.
Of course, and thank you for having me, as always.